Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of Pride. Pride is on its way out the door in general, not just for this year. 2025 so far has been remarkably different from 2024. We're seeing stores that are replacing their gay pride areas with American flags, red, white, and blue, and we get to say goodbye to the tuck-friendly swimsuits that we saw last year at Target. At the same time, we're seeing movies tone back their LGBT agendas. Disney has less and less LGBT, but they're still doing poorly because everyone got tired of their shit. The question, though, is why? Why is support down? In my opinion, it's the authoritarianism of it. LGBT, but back in the day it was just LGB, was about equal treatment for individuals of the gay persuasions. Whether you liked the same sex or you swung both ways didn't matter to them. At a certain point, though, it lost the individuality of we are gay individuals and instead became intersectionality, which is why every 3 months they seem to reinvent their flag with a new section for a new group of quote unquote ostracized peoples. Now, before we really talk about this, I want to give you guys a little bit of background on me, specifically with the gay community. Yeah, I'm straight, I'm Christian, and I see being gay as sinful. I don't want people to get beat up for being gay. I don't want people to be treated like they're subhuman because they're gay. That's not the way I was raised. That's not the way that most Christians were raised. Most Christians are raised to believe, hey, you're sinful, I'm sinful, maybe we should try to be less sinful together. But that's that. However, my interaction with gays is a little bit different. I've had several gay friends along my way. One of which I used to work with. We would play games together, play ping pong together, we would go to happy hour together. We've even been to karaoke together. We went to lunch together regularly. We went on car trips together regularly. A very good person, a very good friend. Whether I think his sexuality is a sin or not, I didn't treat him any differently. I played video games with him with my wife. We joined MMO guilds together. We did all sorts of stuff together. He's a great person, and I would never, ever want anyone to hurt him. I've been invited to a couple of gay weddings, one of which was my previous friend. Another one was a friend that I met through my wife. We were invited to a closet party by one of our gay friends, which, if you don't know, is a cross-dressing party that, in this case, was meant to get donations to help with, basically, helping gays with AIDS. I don't know what the organization was called. This was years ago. But we donated to that. We gave them, I don't remember how much. It was like $40. Maybe it's not a ton, but point is, we're not against gay people. So, in my personal opinion, the way I've always looked at this in the last 8 to 10 years is that LGB should have cut off the T and the non-binary and the two spirits because they have nothing in common. LGB is a group of people that have a sexual attraction to one another, and we're being treated not the fairest. The trans people, on the other hand, are not that way. They are a group of people who want to force others to participate in one of their delusions. If you think you're the opposite sex, hey, all the power to you. But if someone else calls you sir when you think you're a ma'am, that's not on them. That's on you. So, it should be LGB, screw the T. People are really getting tired of a couple of things. The trans community and any targeting of children. We're going to start with the kids first. People don't like when you mess with kids. I know, well, all the gays I know were old gays. I call them old gays with absolute affection. because they were the people that were like, yeah, I'm gay, so what? I don't care. I still like doing this and this and this and this. Whether it was off-roading, hiking, quilting, riding motorcycles, or playing video games, it didn't matter. They all just had their interests, and then they had their interesting partner, whether it was a man or a woman. They didn't make their entire personality about sucking dick or eating carpet. And that's the difference between old gays and new gays. Look at all these social media gays. Their entire personality is, I'm gay. I would say that you can be young and still be an old gay. Look at Dylan B. Hollis. He makes the occasional joke about being gay, but you can tell that dude has absolute interest in cooking and old-timey recipes, and he's got interests. His entire personality isn't being gay. He's the perfect example of how to do it right. He's not pushy on it. He's not in your face with it. He makes jokes about it here and there. They're all awesome. They all land, and the dude is an absolute gentleman about it. Then you have people who are in your face with it, like Lily Tino and Dylan Mulvaney, making their LGBT status their entire personality. This is not the right way to have it. And all the old gays I know would say that they knew they were gay. They knew they were gay even when it wasn't acceptable. And they acted on that, even when it wasn't acceptable. Someone I grew up with in my childhood, she became a lesbian. Without any sort of acceptance or any of that stuff. She just found a girl that made her happy and went with it. So you don't need to talk about this with kids. You don't need to tell them, it's okay, here's what it's like to be gay. You don't need to do that. You don't need to write books about it. You don't need to tell them about it in schools. Stay away from the kids. Specifically girls. Because girls, little known fact, or at least a fact that people don't like, girls have social contagions much easier than others. Back in the day, multiple personality disorder was a huge thing with younger girls. And now we're seeing the same thing with gender dysphoria. This is why they seem to move around in herds, where after one girl becomes LGBT, all the others identify as LGBT very quickly afterwards. These are facts. And every single person watching this goes, yeah, that makes sense. It's what I've seen. If you don't, you're just lying. Then we go to the trans group. Firstly, this is just scientifically false. A man cannot be a woman, period. And a woman cannot be a man, period. Then there's the sports demands that happen, and that is absolutely unacceptable to me. You must allow a man to participate in a woman's sport. When I play golf with one of my friends who is female, I crush the ball compared to her. My drive is 100 yards further. And men don't lose that much muscle mass when they transition. This is nothing but a demand for others to participate in their delusions. You may have an issue that you believe, but it doesn't mean that I need to participate. This is like the 4 lights in Star Trek. I'm not gonna lie and say that there's 5 when there's 4. Not to mention the fact that the whole trans community makes super light of the idea of being gay or lesbian, or just simply having non-gender norm interests. I like cooking and baking, but I'm a dude. I also like just cleaning things up and doing different things that are kind of crafty. Doesn't make me a woman. I like smelling nice. Doesn't make me a woman. I know women that like cars and like doing mechanical parts. It doesn't make them a man. And there's also a large group of the community, of the trans community, that if you went to them and said, I'm a girl, but I'm kind of interested in girls, instead of telling you, oh, it's okay to be gay, they'll instead say, maybe you should try being a guy. Every time they transition someone, it makes them sexually inept. They cannot participate sexually from then on. Whether you are a man or a woman, it's not going to work. Now, one point I want to bring up is that there are these three categories of trans. Because I'm talking about how ridiculous the trans community is. There's three groups. The first group is the group that I support to a degree. They are the people that actually have gender dysphoria. They actually have the mental disorder. They usually do their transitioning and they try to disappear. They want to look as much like the gender that they want to be. They want to act as much like the gender they want to be, and they don't want to bring attention to it. They want to just disappear into the crowd. This group has no ill will, no ill intent, and really isn't something to be worried about. It's a very small percentage of the population. Very, very small. It's the next two groups that are the groups that are of concern. The next group is those who are seeking the social gratification of transitioning. These are the Dylan Mulvaney's and the Lily Tinos. Well, I'm not sure about Lily Tino. Dylan Mulvaney, though. Dylan Mulvaney's videos were extremely unsuccessful. Then, he suddenly discovered being gay. Oh my goodness. His videos got better. Then, he took it another step further. Now I'm gonna be trans. And then videos did even better. You notice what never happened, though? Is that Dylan never did any of the actual transition work. Never. Even after Dylan Mulvaney was making tons of money and had plenty of funds to pay for the transition, he never did it. That's because he was never actually wanting to transition. His caricature of womanhood was getting him money. But he wasn't using it to actually become a woman. He was just enjoying the spotlight. And this is the social gratification group. They want to be seen. They want social protections. They want this and that for personal gain. And this is monetary gain, influence gain, or whatever else. The third group is the really scary group. The social group, that's trouble. But the third group is the scariest group and the group that needs to have something done about them. And these are the ones that get sexual gratification in some way by doing this. These are the people who force their way into women-only areas. These are the Lily Tinos. I say Lily Tino had the social gratification of being able to get more grip on their content. But as I think about it, Lily's more of a sexual gratification. He enjoys going into women's bathrooms and taking selfies. He went into a women's bathroom at Disneyland and then peed standing up, knowing that it would probably make some people uncomfortable. That's not the way that someone with gender dysphoria acts. All the people with gender dysphoria want to disappear. They want to be seen truly as the other group. And while I don't agree with participating in it, I respect the fact that they aren't being authoritarian about it. They don't want people to know, and they don't want to have to force people. They just want to disappear. That sexual group, though, they want to be in your locker rooms while you change. They want to be in your bathrooms while you're going to the bathroom. They want to basically get this rush of being where you can't stop them. And that's the most dangerous group. That's the group that could be predatory. That's the group that could be a problem for young girls or even grown women. Now, I'm not saying they are, but they could be. Maybe they just get off on the idea of having the power. Maybe they save stuff for the spank bank for later. But at the same time, they could be the ones that are waiting for the opportunity to attack someone when no one's around. You don't know. And unfortunately, with the way the Democrat policies go, you can't even approach someone on that topic. This brings me to a point with bathrooms. I think that the biggest thing for bathroom usage, some people say you need to use the bathroom that makes sense with what you were born. I think it needs to actually be based on what makes sense for your appearance and your behavior, as well as if you've gotten the surgery. All three categories need to happen. So if you are a Blair White who actually looks like a woman, you should be capable of going into the women's restroom. Meanwhile, if you're a Lily Tino or a Dylan Mulvaney or any of the myriad of bearded trans quote-unquote women, you should absolutely not be in the women's restroom. If you don't have the surgery snipped yet, you should not be in the women's restroom. If for some reason you are, you should sit on the toilet so that you sound like a woman going to the bathroom. You should do what makes sense. If people are eyeballing you because you still look like a guy, you're in the wrong room. Women's spaces are for women's comfort and safety. That is why they are separated. A man's bathroom is not separated for a man's safety. It is separated so that women feel comfortable, so that women feel safe. If you are in the transition process and you still look like a man, I guarantee you 99.99% of the time, men aren't even going to do anything. Maybe they'll say something. But you're not going to get assaulted. You're not going to get beat up. You're going to be fine in the men's room. Personally, I can't wait to see what next year's LGBT Pride Month looks like. I'm ready to see it go away because I'm tired of seeing the double standard of gays allowed to show their genitals, do sexual acts on each other in public. And meanwhile, if you got stuck out with your underwear on as a straight man, you would be under arrest. The double standard is ridiculous. People are tired of seeing it. And I'm ready for some normalcy. If you really want equal treatment, then you should demand equal treatment and not special treatment. If you guys enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe, hit the like, leave a comment below, and share this with your friends. Happy End of Pride.